everyone. It is Tuesday. Let's do it. It's Tuesday, people. How are you tonight? Welcome to Tuesday. What are you all grateful for this Tuesday evening? It's Tuesday. We still got several days of April left. What are you grateful for tonight? Tell me about your day and what you are grateful for. That's what I want to know. That is what I want to hear. Tell me about it. Tell me everything you see. Tell me what is great and happening to be. I look dark in one screen and not dark in the other. I don't know. You go figure out Facebook for me, and then I'll really be doing good. Hey, Adele and Dazzle are here. Welcome to the program. Dazzle, it's treat time. I know Dazzle waits for this moment every night. Karen, you've been found. Great to have you here live tonight. Hope all is well in Newfoundland. Did I almost get that right? I almost feel like I got that right. Newfoundland. That's almost correct. I feel like it. It is great to have you here, my Canadian friend. I hear flights are going to resume. Like, we're going to be able to fly to Canada from the U.S. is a rumor. I don't know if we get to fly back, but that's a rumor I heard. Hey, that's great news, Rose. Congratulations on having a great sales day and lots of traffic. Traffic is a good thing. You know, you had a post the other day, Karen, that caught my eye. And you know, I'm not a huge commenter or poster or anything. But it caught my eye because you're like, spring is almost here or something. And I'm like, in the corner of that picture, is that snow way over there? You know, I was looking way over there. Well, you know, I will wave to you from afar. I have my graphic that, Michelle Bradley, I think, did, of me when I was, you know, all these things on the Canadian Adventure, and I look at that and I laugh about Canada. But, hey, the Queen is here. Hey, 85 in the 404. And the ATL. I mean, you guys have all your things going. The ATL, the 404. You know, that is good. Sometime when I come down there and we go out for drinks, Vicky, I'll have to tell you about my trip to Toccoa and Gainesville back in the 90s. I was working in Toccoa and Gainesville, Georgia in the 90s. That was an interesting trip. One of my Georgia trips that I remember. I've had a lot of interesting Georgia trips over the years. 81 there. That means that's coming this way. I'm going to have 80s here soon. Jennifer is with us. Welcome, Jennifer. Great chatting with you earlier. That is good news, Kitty. That is good weather, and hopefully that brings good sales. International Pay It Forward Day. Let me think about that for a minute. I will... Oh, Vicky, if you know, the Toccoa and Gainesville in the 90s, you know, I mean, that was an interesting trip to the sticks back then. What can I say? I mean, granted, I live in the sticks now, but not by Toccoa and Gainesville standards. Oh, Nebraska Angie, great chatting with you earlier. Great to have you all here tonight. Let's get started. I am so grateful to hear all the good that's going on. Kelly's here now. Boom. Now we can really get started. Hello, Kelly. Let's get our good morning, good night book started here. 30th anniversary on Saturday. Woo, woo, woo. That is awesome, Giddy. Party, party. And a reason to have cake. I'm just saying, I look for reasons to have cake. I mean, we're having birthday month for Rebecca, so there's cake here. The little the farm stand that I that we love here locally opened today. Vic Queenies is celebrating. Look at all the celebrations. That is a lot of things to be grateful for, people. A lot of things to be grateful for. That is terrific. You ever notice with your stores you don't want to be younger? You're proud of the age of your store the older it gets, but you as a person always want to be a few years younger. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out there. I don't really want a response. Yeah, well, I'm not saying feed customers. I'm saying you eat the cake, Kitty. You can have the cake and eat it too. You can have the cake and eat it too. But I'm with you. I'm not with the feeding customers. But we're going to talk about that tonight. Now that you bring it up. But a cake is always good. We still have leftover birthday cake. We have cheesecake here. We got all sorts of cakes. Everything's better when you add cake to it. I'm just saying. Let's have lasagna cake. It's better. Yeah, we had some good drop-offs today and yesterday. Wasn't as busy, Kelly, but with the wave that everybody else is having right now, I know that is coming our way. But it's also kind of a full moon week. I'll talk about that. Let's get the good morning, good night bug going so we can talk. Good morning. Tonight we're on page 94 if you're following along. 94. Good morning. In your corner, even in the roundest of rooms, on your side, even if it makes this seesaw kind of boring. Boom, there you're going. Yeah, I mean, it's still a good, we've had good traffic, good consignments this week, but it's still a little bit of, it is a full moon week. Just to give you an example, one of my landlords today, just to show you how full moon it is, he decided he woke up with this brainiac idea that he shouldn't be a janitor for all his properties and have a big key ring with all the keys. And he sent a locksmith today to change our locks so that they're part of his master and leave me a couple of keys. I'm like, hello. When I found out about this, I'm like, no, that ruins my whole master key system. Where I have all our locations on master keys, and I just control it with alarm codes, with everybody having individual alarm codes to the locations they're authorized for. But I'm like, where do you get this idea and decide to go around and change your tenant's locks without having a conversation? I get it, maybe in a residential setting, but we're a business. We got things going on here. So that was like a V8 moment for him. So it was just like, what are you thinking? I got people that'll be. And this was at my warehouse. I got people that'll be there first thing in the morning that will not have this key, besides the fact that I'm not changing the way we key our buildings. But because it was a locksmith that told me to do it many years ago. Locksmith told me to do that and control it with alarm codes, because alarm codes are a lot easier to change than locks every time somebody leaves. So he's like, you'll thank me later. I have thanked him later. He's a good guy. But it is great to have you all here on this Tuesday night. Any tech issues? Cassandra's posted the link to switch over to the YouTube. We're broadcasting tonight on both YouTube and Facebook. We're streaming live on both, I guess is how the kids say it. We're streaming live on multiple platforms. Well, I love all this celebrating. I love all this good news. That just makes it awesome. I just feel the energy. I feel the positive energy. And that really goes with Simon's quote tonight. The goal of life is not to have our lives mean something to ourselves. The goal of life is to have our lives mean something to others. Think about that. The goal of life is not to have our lives mean something to ourselves. The goal of life is to have our lives mean something to others. And, celebrating 30 years in business, that you've had more customers in the store today than you have in over a year, that you have consigners coming out like crazy. I mean, we had the other day consigner donate furniture. I mean, good furniture to us. A really nice recliner and everything else. I mean, these are positive things. This shows that your store has meaning to others. It is greater than you. And isn't that a great thing? Doesn't that get you right here? The effect and that you have on others, both your team, your consigners, your shoppers, and that it means something. I mean, you've heard it time and time again since reopening, that it means something to have you there. The fact that you are still open and that they can come to their favorite place. And that is a good thing. The Standard & Poor's, the stock rating agency, has raised its outlook for Macy's from negative to positive. Negative to positive. Macy's hasn't been in the positive territory in a long time. And they could get an upgrade on their current credit rating in the coming months. Encouraging signs of the change was based on a few things. Encouraging signs of an accelerating economic recovery are emerging. And we believe operating conditions for apparel retailers are fast improving. And they also cited changes that Macy's has made with lower than expected profit and sales declines in the fourth quarter of last year, as well as momentum going into quarter one. Okay, Macy's has shed a lot of its woes. Okay, the department store is not dead. We covered that last night. Again, just for a segment, where do people want to buy shoes? They want to go to the department store. Is the number one choice for shoe buyers. Okay, so that was a surprising stat, but it's also, something to give them a leg up on. It gives them an opportunity once you have that traffic in your stores to do something else. Okay, again, we've talked about, a little bit about, items per sale. Okay, items per transaction. How many items are in your basket? And just increasing that fractionally for each transaction is huge. And Macy's has, if their stores are inviting, has a tremendous opportunity to do that. Has a tremendous opportunity. Speaking of opportunity, Sephora at Kohl's is going to host a lineup of over 125 beauty brands. As they firm up what this partnership will look like, the Sephora at Kohl's experience will include more than 125 prestige beauty brands when it debuts in August at the first 200 Kohl's stores. The categories include makeup, skincare, hair, and fragrance, with 75% of the assortment is exclusive to Sephora in the U.S. and Sephora at Kohl's. The lineup, the superstars of this lineup include Drybar, The Ordinary, Drunk Elephant, Fenty Beauty, Tatcha, Milk Makeup, Tarte, Too Faced, and Anastasia Beverly Hills, among others. So, they're going big or going home. They're going big with this. I mean, Kohl's is doing this to, again, build traffic. It's about building, and Sephora is doing it because of traffic. Okay? It is getting traffic into the stores because people want to be where people are. People want to shop. They want to be in store. They want to have these connections. That is why this is important. That's why knowing about what is happening with these stores, what these others, the big guys are doing, is so important to how you do it in your store and what you're offering. Okay, because they put research into this. If they're dumping a big bucks into this. Big bucks into this. This isn't easy. This isn't them just going in and setting up a couple tables in a store and saying, ta-da, here we are. This isn't stack it high and let it fly. There is a method to their madness. There is a plan, okay? And reading from their blueprint, looking at what they're doing, are things that you can do in your store to enhance your customer experience. That is why this is important. Madwell. I don't, tomato. Madwell has released their mobile app. They released it to the public, and it was first available to their insiders about a week ago. With their app, you can place orders, track your loyalty status, and add their favorite items to their wish list. And you'll have access to additional in-app perks, including the ability to view seasonal collections early, learning about upcoming local events, and access exclusive offers. They plan on adding more features such as inventory tracking by location, saving preferred sizes, and providing product recommendations and digital product information while shopping in store. Again, this is about real estate. It is about getting yourself on people's real estate, in their purses, in their hands. And if you can give them a compelling reason to have your app or your loyalty thing, that continues to add value and repeat business. So that's why this is important. It's important because this is about how Madwell is adding value for their customers and getting them to put it on their phone, getting them to be an insider, giving them special access. It gives them something. And that's the reason this is going on their phones. So, and is inspiring their customer base to put it on their phones. I mean, you only have so much real estate on your phone. There's only so much real estate there. And that is a good thing to follow what they are doing. Okay. Whether that's your own rewards app, like Resale Rewards or Tap Mango or 5 Stars, that gives them things and gives you a connection to them, or one that you custom design, although that is getting harder and harder to do, just to keep up with. Gucci and Facebook in the same sentence. They have filed a joint lawsuit against a counterfeiter. Gucci have filed a joint lawsuit in California against an individual who allegedly used the group's social media platforms to sell fake Gucci products. The initiative is the first of its kind for both Gucci and Facebook, and is the latest example of the internet giant joining forces with a luxury label to fight the proliferation of counterfeit goods being sold via social media. Amazon has filed similar lawsuits over the past year. In a statement, Gucci, the profit engine, and Facebook, in a statement, Gucci and Facebook alleged the unidentified defendant used multiple Facebook and Instagram accounts to promote her international online counterfeit business. Online sales of luxury handbags, shoes, and garments have boomed over the past year as the pandemic forced retailers to temporarily close their stores. Groups like Facebook are keen to make a bigger push into the luxury market and social commerce. But to do so, they need to show their platforms are not a conduit for counterfeiting and are safe for brands, some of which are reluctant to sell their products through third-party players. More than 1 million pieces of content were removed from Facebook and Instagram in the first half of 2020, based on thousands of reports of counterfeit content from brand owners, including Gucci. It added that in 2020 alone, the actions of Gucci's in-house intellectual property team had resulted in 4 million online counterfeit product listings being taken down, the seizure of 4.1 million counterfeit products, and 45,000 websites, including social media accounts, being disabled. 45,000. And that, we know that's just a drop in the bucket, okay? Don't do it. You don't own Facebook. work with these people, but you don't own it. In a good thing for getting back to normal, in a good thing, this is a sign of back to normal. What would you do if you had $1 billion and you wanted to get people back to normal? Okay, if you wanted to get things back to normal and you had an extra $1 billion, what would you do? Well, if you're Apple, and they have lots of extra billions, by the way, it's, this billion is just a rounding error. You would build a new campus in North Carolina, a new massive campus in North Carolina, where they plan on adding 20,000 new jobs. They're going to add more than 20,000 new jobs over the next, across the country in the next 5 years. And in this particular $1 billion investment, they will create at least 3,000 new jobs. And they're going to, so that is, the fact that you're building a place for people to come to work in person tells you about where companies are thinking. You're gonna bet $1 billion on people going to work. Okay, not working remotely, not working from home, where they can be face to face with their colleagues. Apple's betting $1 billion that that's going to happen, and I'm right there with them. More and more companies, we're seeing that, which is really good news for us, because when people get back to a normal cycle, okay, a normal schedule, their kids are back in school, they're on a normal schedule, they commute, it is good for the overall economy, it is good for business. So that is a very good thing. I know a lot of you have, early on in this pandemic, shifted to curbside pickup. A lot of you shifted to curbside pickup. A lot of businesses have. And a lot continue to do that, especially in the restaurant and retail sector. A lot of people continue to do curbside pickup. I mean, you pull in, you say, I'm here, or you check in and you say, I'm here, and they bring out your item. Well, that is, you pull into the reserved parking space, you say I'm in spot 5, and they bring it out to you. Well, while landlords have been very flexible with that during this pandemic, they are now starting to look at that as leasable space. So as leases are coming up, they're starting to look at curbside pickup spots as functions of your lease, or something that you may need to pay for, extra for, as part of your lease. You're going to have to give to get, okay? It is no longer necessarily going to be just free, that you can have a sign out there that is curbside pickup. And that's to be expected. I mean, everything is about square footage, and square footage used for exclusive use of a tenant, shouldn't be something that everybody is paying for. Let's look at it that way, okay? You wouldn't want to pay all of the waiting area inside a pickup restaurant, okay, that people were going in, and you wouldn't want to pay that as part of your square footage. So if you think of common area space, if this space is exclusively for your customers, so if this parking space is exclusively for your customers, it is no longer common space, is one of the ways to think about it. None of us want additional costs, and I would certainly look not to pay for it, okay, not to pay extra for it. But I might look to have that specifically written into my lease, that I can have that, so they can't take it away from me. But I wouldn't personally look to pay extra for it. But I could see a restaurant doing that, okay, that needs several spaces, okay, because that becomes like tables out there where cars that are specific to them are coming in all the time, or limiting how far out those spaces can go. So just be aware that landlords are looking at that now. I'm not trying to make anyone nervous with that announcement. I'm trying to make you objectively aware of it, okay, that it could be happening at a lease near you, There's been a lot of talk. There's been a lot of talk about the 2020 census numbers that were released this week, and the U.S. population. And I'm not going to get in. And most of the stories have centered around either one of two things: birth rate, okay, or the biggest news is how that will change congressional seats, okay, across the country. Well, this happens all the time, so I'm not really trying to deal with the politics of it. I'm trying to deal with the economic business side of it. Okay, declining birth rate. There are now, hang on a second, I had this, there was one, this one, I didn't highlight this. There are now more Americans 80 and older than 2 or younger. There are now more Americans 80 and older than 2 or younger. So that is one statistic, and it looks like Facebook has tossed us tonight. I don't know what's going on with Facebook, but it looks like Facebook's tossing us. We're still live on the YouTube. There are more Americans 80 and older than 2 or younger. So that is a important stat there, okay? And it's important because that will affect your future workforce. And typically when there's been declines like this, okay, like during the Great Depression and during those times, ultimately before the birth rate ticked back up, it's resulted in higher wages. So it's resulted in wages going up because it is a sign of a declining workforce. So, the direct 80, there are more 80 people over 80 than under 2 is not a direct thing. People, well, I'm not worried about the 1-year-old coming to work for me tomorrow, but these things tend to lead to an uptick in wages. So just be aware of that historical side of things, with a currently declining birth rate. When you see that type of number, that is something that tends to drive wages up. There also can be other things and productivity gains from that as well, which is really good, but that can drive wages up. The other thing to note there with that is, hang on a second here, with the census, is that it matters, okay? Doing the census matters. It actually only takes a couple minutes, and most people think of it like jury duty. I don't want to bother with it, okay? But the census matters, okay? And it doesn't just matter in congressional seats. It matters in how the federal government spends money. It matters in how areas are counted, and it matters how they're distributing idle grants right now is a direct result of the 2010 census and the numbers that they're using from that. All the maps and everything else that they're using are based on the 2010 census. So, that, brings it right home right now in the pandemic. That brings that number right home to you. It also means that in New York State, okay, just as an example, in New York State, if they had counted, yeah, Facebook threw me off, Rose. I don't know what the heck happened, but I'm still here. I'm still talking. I'll save some of this for tomorrow because I know not all the audience transfers over, but we have a huge replay audience. The live audience in comparison to the replay audience is astronomical. But if New York State had found 89 people had responded to the census, if 89 more people had responded to the census in New York State, they would not have lost a congressional seat. So 89 people in the state of New York, okay? You don't think there's 89 people that they missed in the state of New York that they didn't count? So I throw that out there in the importance of it, okay, and why that's important. And why, these tedious things that seem like, okay, how do I get out of not doing the census? is kind of like, how do I get out of jury duty? But there now, New York State has not only cost a congressional seat, it has cost extra federal funding for things that they won't get in the coming years because of that. So it is it matters, and that's what I wanted to share on that. The other stuff I'm going to save for tomorrow, because I know we lost to go. I have some important stuff to cover there. We'll cover it tomorrow on some new labor mandates that are coming this week. Gonna get interesting. Things are getting interesting with OSHA and labor rules regarding COVID. They're gonna issue an emergency temporary standard, and those rules are going to get interesting, and especially in some states. And I have stuff on that, and we will cover that tomorrow night. We will cover that. I also have some upcoming things that are going to be for new businesses that opened since COVID, okay, where there's going to be resources available to help them as well. So we'll cover all that tomorrow night and what's happening with that. And you know what else we'll cover is that everything we cover here, everything, all the files, all the resources, everything we post here goes over to nerds.org/resale strong by noon the very next day. Noon, I tell you, it's all over there. The files, the spreadsheet, and a direct link to the YouTube channel. You're running this store where you can like, comment, subscribe, and yes, you can ring the bell so you know when a new episode drops. You can also share it with all of your friends in business. Butcher, baker, candlestick maker. We want to help everybody across the finish line. We're not leaving anybody behind. Nobody. I am here every night, live in the Nards Private Facebook group. That's where you find me, live every night in the Nards Private Facebook group. But if you have a question, at more 8 than ish, but if you have a question in between, you just email me. Neil, Neil, at ECIstores.com, Neil at ECIstores.com. We start this program every night with the Good Morning, Good Night book. The Good Morning, Good Night book is how we start this program every night. If you were not here at the top of the program, our Good Morning tonight on page 94 is Good Morning. In your corner, even in the roundest of rooms, on your side, even if it makes this seesaw kind of boring. Our good night tonight is good night. Holding your hand, even if it's sticky, from jelly or honey. On your team, even when you're playing solitaire. There is your graphic, folks. There you go. You don't want to miss tomorrow night. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Neil Abramson. I do like a good party, a wedding, a bar mitzvah, a Canadian border opening. I don't know. We'll party again in person. And when we do, I will be there with you. Yes, I will. But until then, and until tomorrow night at more 8-ish, know that you, but most importantly you, yes, you're not alone running this store. It's time for dinner, everybody. Have a great night.